Hello, welcome to Star Wars Spelt Out. I'm your host, Josh Chapman, and today, oh man, the finale. It's all happened. We've just witnessed it. Let's not mince words. Let's get into it. We got Eli on the line. Hey, gone, buddy.
I'm good. Just reeling from the episode. Yeah,
reeling from the carnage.
Yeah, yeah. Things got a bit out of hand there for a while. It was it's just absolute mayhem.
It was, wasn't it? It was mayhem. It was a lot of mayhem. I kept going, oh, there's a lot of shooting. And it kind of stopped. I'm like, wow, I kept thinking of that, you must have seen UHF, Weird Al UHF. You know, when he plays Red. No. Haven't you ever seen the Weird Al movie UHF?
No.
Oh my God. All right, dude. There's a project for you. There's a whole bit in it where they do a Rambo parody and he's just shooting for 3 minutes just continuously. And all these guys are and he's just shooting and everything's exploding around him and everything. I just felt like I was watching that. It was sort of, so you got your boy back.
Yeah.
Front and center.
Mm-hmm. Finally. It's about time.
Yeah.
You know, not just a cameo appearance this time, actual presence.
It was funny, wasn't it? That it did feel like a real pivot, like a real 180, turn the car kind of thing. Just because the last episode was so centered around the Mandalorian and most Luke Skywalker and Grogu, and it was all the choice and everything. And then it just completely didn't address. It did address it eventually, but it was just we're dealing with this problem still.
Yeah, it's just very unnecessary for a Boba show. You could have somebody you sit your friend down to watch the Boba Fett show. Just skip those 2 episodes, and they'd probably be all yeah, what a cohesive series. It
yeah,
it works as a narrative.
Well, I was saying today that it was if you were watching that Beatles documentary, the Get Back one, which is 3 hours long, and then just for 45 minutes in the 3/4 through, it was they just were oh, let's go see what the Rolling Stones are up to for 45 minutes, and you'd be oh, this is really interesting, and I really like the Rolling Stones, but that's weird. I thought we were watching a show about the Beatles, and then at the end you just got the rooftop show at the end. I guess they did go back up on the roof and do their concert, and everything was great. Oh, that's weird.
It just makes it all right.
Yeah, yeah. So it was a pivot. I know it's sort of obviously the Mandalorian was involved, but he could have just been there. They could have just called him, and he could have just turned up.
Yeah.
And I felt that okay, they brought in Baby Yoda, and that kind of resolved, and he had his moments and things. I'm going to jump all over the place. I'm not going to try and play it out and all. But I thought that when Mando's on the ground and that scorpion robot's over him and Grogu walks out, I was oh, that dark saber's going to fly into his hand, isn't it? That's what's going to happen, surely. Did you think that? I thought that was.
I don't think that didn't cross my mind at all. Just even just thinking about it now, that would have been insane.
I mean, it would have been way too big for him for a start. But yeah. I just assumed it was a bit Rey calls the lightsaber and the thing flies over. I mean, maybe it'd be too close to that. And I just thought he was going to Yoda hop over there and slice the legs off.
Yeah, it turns out he's been training for a really long time and he's just perfectly adept.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, that was good. Because he helped, but it wasn't I was expecting him to just crush the entire robot like a paper ball or something, but he just pulled off a little bit of his leg and gave Mando an opening. So it was still in tune with just how capable this Baby Yoda is. He's pretty good, but he's not great.
Well, that's the danger, isn't it? The sort of, if you have, I mean, that was always the Luke Skywalker danger, isn't it? That if Luke Skywalker can solve every problem, what do you do with him? Essentially, you know, it's
Yeah.
like it's the Last Jedi. It's like, well, Luke can't come on the journey because he'll just solve everything himself, and it's completely not his movie anymore. So you know, you've got to. So if Grogu gets too powerful, it's like, well, you can send Grogu out to solve every problem. But let's just backtrack a little. We'll backtrack here. We'll go back to the start. I was surprised that it was sort of in the town. I just kind of assumed that they'd all front up at the front of Jabba's palace, and like that.
Well, like, yeah, because that probably would have made more sense, but you know, Boba just has to bend to the will of everyone around him. Takes one person to suggest, no, let's just hang out here, and he's like, you know what? Yeah, let's just stay here.
Yeah, he was pretty convinced pretty easily, wasn't he?
He's a flexible guy. Like his total, it feels like even his complete like belief structure is just at the whim of everybody around him. Like he's first and foremost, hey, let's get back to the base and fortify there. And his mod leader is just like, no, we can't abandon these people. And Boba's literally just like, we can't abandon these people. Like it's just he's just a sponge.
We could really use
a sponge.
We could really use a
sponge
Sunday
for everything
bar.
around him. Yeah,
it's like,
he just wants a little bit of everything.
Sunday bar, yeah. Yeah, so they did go back. I mean, I did like that they went back to like, you know, the nightclub at the start, and it's like, oh man, this place got pretty trash, because there was sort of some conjecture during the week, like, oh, you know, the fireball kind of went out the door. Maybe it's not so bad in there. And it's like
it was pretty bad.
It was pretty gutted. You know, so the pretty, was it not Jessica Biel, the lady from Flashdance?
Jennifer Biel.
Jennifer, yeah, she's yeah, sorry, R.I.P. I think. Although no Max Rebo. Somebody very carefully pointed out that there was no establishing shot that Max Rebo was there, so he must have smelled danger with that big schnozzer he is and got out of town pretty quick.
He knows heat when he sees it.
Yeah, he's worked the clubs in Tatooine long enough to know, you know, when some dudes who don't belong walk in with a suspicious package to just duck out the back door. He's got to find another band though. He's like, oh, not again. I'm going to have to start putting some ads out again. After a while, you know, if you've been in a few bands and a few of them start, like that's two of them that are blown up now, you're probably going to get a reputation after a while.
Yeah, he's just like, it's like, Max, you got to stop playing at these really, really shady areas. It's like, nah, it's where all the money is.
It's kind of turning into Spinal Tap drummers, Max. You know, like because you know, two whole sets of bands have exploded now. So, yeah. So, like you said, the sort of like the Pikes turn up and they've kind of got. It's just weird because at the whole time I'm like, there's like 10 of them. They've got like 10 of them. They're like, okay. You know, it all sort of implies that it hinges on Timothy Oliphant and his mates turning up. I'm going, well, he's just got this town of like sand dirt farmers. Are they really going to make that much difference? And I'm going, well, Boba Fett's literally got like 10 people in his corner, you know, and that's it. They're like, well, we've got like Wookiee over here, and we've got the motorbike kids over here, and we've got the two Gamorrean guards that we've got, and that's it. There's like 8 people defending the whole perimeter against this syndicate.
Yeah, I love how easily the plan backfired without any surprise whatsoever. He's like, all right, so we've got pretty much one or so of each of our soldiers in a certain area. Like, we are the textbook definition of spread thin, but I think it's going to work out just fine.
Yeah, as long as more than 3 people don't show up at one of these places more than once, we should be fine. And then they literally make fun of themselves where Cad Bane just turns up at the front door anyway. They're just like, security's probably not quite as tight as we thought it was.
Yeah, bad start. Off to a really bad start.
Yeah, up to a shonky start. So they do have this nice little sort of standoff, which was quite good.
That was great. I feel like if there was one thing I couldn't put my finger on as to what this show was lacking so far, it's more of that. It's like Boba having intense one-on-ones with his past and like you know familiar interactions as opposed to like just the sort of fish out of water
no pun intended.
Yeah. That was quick. But yeah, like that. I feel like that just highlighted the fact that there was very little ties to like his character's past at all, and
And
so
like
like
they kind of
having
alluded that at the start, didn't they? Like there was kind of like they showed his like flashbacks as a kid and about his dad, and it sort of didn't go any deeper than that. It sort of felt like it was going to go into this sort of like, what is he? Who is he? What's his identity? What does it mean? Like, who is he now? And it sort of just, well, we just went off into a completely different show for 2 episodes.
Yeah.
So
like it could have the show would have worked with like a brand new character. Like they could have started someone from scratch, and it probably would have played out with the exact same beats. And I guess that's just kind of a disservice to Bo, because
yeah, 'cause, I mean, you kind of watched it and you've gone,
established.
well, given everything that we've got, maybe there is actually only like 4 episodes of material here, like or 4. Given that you like the bunch, the first 3 episodes, lots of flashback, and then you've got obviously 2 episodes of Mandalorian in there, and then you've got this. Guess maybe you could have done it in 4 episodes. But at the same time,
when you sum it up like that, it's pretty rough. Like we rung Bo before all he's worth, and we've got like 2 episodes of content that we stretched out.
Yeah, so he essentially. I'm just trying to think. I'm trying to think back. Yeah, he sort of takes over, goes to the mayor's office a couple of times, goes to the nightclub a couple of times.
He picks up a job to go rough up some hoodlums, but ends up hiring them instead.
Hires the hoodlums. Yep. And then the train's even in the flashback, isn't it? So he doesn't do that. So then he sort of gets wind that the Hutts turn up. He faces the Hutts leave. The Wookiees try to kill him. He becomes mates with the Wookiees. He talks to the Syndicate. He finds out that the Pikes are running spice. And then he basically sort of gives them the finger, and then they turn up, and they have that. Then we get this episode. But I mean, like you said, like you could have, like there could have been a lot more character stuff about, like you said, like about him and facing his past and all that. You could have not padded it, but you could have easily just delved into more of him.
Oh, I was really hoping for some some de-aged technology so we could have some flashbacks with him hanging out with his dad. Like, show us where he came from, because like we don't really have a lot of that. And that's, if you're going to reveal parts about his character, you got to show where he's from, not just who he is now. Because then it's sort of,
well, especially since they brought like Cad Bane in, and he's literally just like, well, I used to run with you, and I've known you since you were little, and like you could have easily have bookended that stuff and brought that in, and had a thing where it was like, maybe he was taken under his wing after his dad died with Cad Bane, and difference of opinions and all this. You could have really played on that, because I mean, it did suffer. I mean, that the enemy was always kind of like a mystery. But it kind of wasn't. You know what I mean? Like, it was kind of like, ooh, because like the Hutts are like, we're out of here. This is too, you should get out of here too. This is too scary. This is too full on. And it's like, oh, it is just the Pikes. Like, that's it. Like, it's just these guys. Like, it's kind of waiting for, not that it always has to be surprises, but I was obviously waiting for like who's the man behind the curtain or the woman behind the curtain. Who's the big daddy?
Yeah, like it was pretty straightforward. Just like, oh, it's just a drug gang, and the main guy is well within reach. So
yeah, and then they just kind of clear out after that. They're like, well, those 10 people defeated us, so I guess we should give up pretty easily. 'Cause I wasn't quite sure. Like, I think I said one of the earlier ones, going, they keep talking about this war. Like, what's it actually going to be? Like, is it going to just be like some sort of street fight or something? I guess it was kind of that. The scale was a bit bigger. It really did feel...
It was a couple of streets fight. It wasn't just located on a single street.
But it felt like, I was thinking, like, Robert Rodriguez directed this, and I was looking at some YouTube clips of like the end of like Machete and stuff like that. It's very similar, like really similar way that it's shot and the vibe of it, and it's all kind of like a smallish group of people in a backlot kind of shooting at people at each other.
Yeah, when it was Mando and Boba just out the front of the club, just like gunslinging, it just screamed like El Mariachi Desperado vibes, like just the way they were like moving around and the bad guys were just running in just to get shot. It was just, like it was classic Robert Rodriguez.
Yeah, I mean, that was pretty cool. I really thought that. Like, I really enjoyed it. Like, I actually was like, okay, we're back on track. Like I felt like the show got its focus back because it was the Boba Fett show. I'm like, okay, it sort of led up to this. It pulled the threads together. It pulled the Mando threads together. It did kind of bring all those things in, like we sort of mentioned, like we sort of said, oh yeah, the Pikes are the ones who killed the Tuskens, not the bikers. Fair enough. But even that was kind of, well, it was resolved, but it wasn't resolved by Boba either.
Yeah, like that is kind of weird because it set up this big whole, he was responding emotionally, so obviously it was still a sore spot for him. But Fennec will take care of it. Like it's he doesn't need to be there.
It was nice that Fennec Shand got a moment to just kill everybody. Just like, okay, she's been waiting to kill some people for the whole series.
Yeah, she is no nonsense as well. Like that was very concise. She's professional, really.
Yeah. I'm just trying to think of order here. So yeah, so they do he's like, all right, we'll stay. We've got our lookouts and stuff like that. And then we get the X-Wing rolling in, and I'm just like, oh, they're actually going to do this again? like it's just going to, like, I was literally just like, oh, they're going to like bring Luke in. Like of course I just assumed that. And it was a nice little fake out. I did like that they, went to Amy Sedaris's hangar, and R2's there and Grogu pops out, and I thought that was all. I was all great. I loved all that, and they sort of reunited. And again, it's that whole thing of like, what do you do with him? He's kind of luggage, and that was a kind of a smart way of getting him back without him being there straight away, which was quite cool. And keeping Luke away. So that was interesting. That it sort of, it was a weird way of doing it, wasn't it? That they kind of they built this whole sort of choose thing, and then he just kind of rocks up.
Yeah. That was probably their way of just they probably had a whole bunch of drafts of what a Mandalorian season 3 could look like, and they were just sort of like, it just doesn't work without Baby Yoda. Like we got to get him back somehow.
Yeah, I mean, when season 2 finished, and I did a sort of a breakdown of the season, I can't remember who the guest was, and I just said, I'm like, I don't know if the show can survive with, like, I thought maybe you just end it after season 2 because. That's the story. If the story is now that he's in care with Luke, like that, as cool as that is, it's just like, well, that's not the story. Like maybe that the Mandalorian show just ends because like their relationship is the story. So, but now it's, I don't know. It's kind of weird. It's like, does it devalue the rest of the show that he sort of did all that to get him there and then take him back? I mean, I'm sure it's not over yet. I guess we'll just see what happens. But
well, I think it's like. He had a goal, really, for like season 1 and season 2, and so like now that it's just him and Grogu, are they just going to hang out? Like where are they? Like where are they headed?
Yeah, what did they do?
He doesn't have to take him anywhere anymore. He's just like
yeah, he doesn't even have a house. He's got to get a house. He can't go back with those Mandalorians. Yeah, I'm not sure. What they're going to do there, but good. I mean, it's good that they're back, and we'll get into that in a sec more. So they sort of have the face down, the showdown. Cad Bane and Boba Fett, they kind of staring each other down, and they back off, which was quite interesting. And
and again, like Cad Bane, he says, like, he's like, oh Boba, you're getting soft, and it's like, is he? We don't have a reference point. Like it's just we're taking your word for it here.
Yeah. Well, it's quite interesting because, there's been criticism of the show that, like, especially those early episodes of the Tuskens is like, oh, he has gone soft. Like, he loves animals, he's nice to people, he's trying to negotiate and blah, blah, blah. And so it is addressed that, he's not sort of the guy that he was. But
I saw this really, really great meme earlier in the week that really spoke to me. And it's just like all these... It said all these Star Wars fanboys are out here being mad because Boba's not acting like the tattoo with him on their shoulder, and I was like, "Oh, that hits me really hard because I've got Boba tattooed on my shoulder."
So, do you feel like, as a guy with Boba Fett on his shoulder, do you don't feel like you need to go down to the? I was going to say the tattoo removal shop. I don't even know how that works. The shop.
No, but it just put it into perspective for me that it's like, we all fell in love with this character when there was like zero substance to him, and now it's just they're adding substance to him because like they pretty much started from nothing to be like, well, we can make the character act and behave however we want, really.
Yep. He definitely has a bit
It's
more
just-
of an edge to him in this episode too, though. He does,
Mm.
as we'll get into it. But so I'm just trying to think what happens then. So they kind of do the standoff, and then they kind of they realize that all the other syndicates, of course, have screwed them over. They've all sent their 3 guys to overpower the 2 guys that they've all got. Those poor Gamorrean guards just get like pushed off.
Oh, that was horrible.
Oh,
Yeah,
man.
that wasn't like everybody else got a sort of big, heroic sort of last stand and just fighting off, and then they just got pushed off the cliff.
All the rest of them lived. So the biker kids lived. They got away. Pratt Chrysanthemum got away. Like, he fought them off. He won. It's just the 2 Gamorrean guards just happened to be on the one with the big precipice to fall off the edge of. Kind of harsh on them. Yep. So then Fennec Shan's like, all right, well, I'm going to make a run for it. I'll go to the pikes, which is a pretty good move. And Mando and Boba sort of hold up in the thing, and they decide to they send out that sort of weaselly little Twi'lek guy to cut a deal.
Cut a distraction.
And then we get this sweet thing of them like sort of jetpacking over the top and doing this big shootout, which was very cool.
Yeah, I mean that's what we that's what we all really wanted, like jetpacking Mandalorians just like raining fire.
Yeah, it was quite cool. I did like, they did shoot a lot of people, but they took a few hits, and it was sort of looking like, not looking good for them and stuff. But yeah, I did like that. That was cool. And then, interestingly enough, like they sort of get a few more reinforcements and things, and more people turn up, and more people shoot, and so on and so forth. And then the Freetown people turn up, but no Timothy Oliphant. Like, we were just like going, well, he. Spoilers, he turns up at the very end of the episode in the Bacta tank and stuff. But I was very surprised. Like, after they went all that trouble of, like last week, you said, like, kind of shot him in the shoulder and the people rush over to help him. I'm like, oh, well, he'll be back.
I think maybe they were worried about overshadowing Boba too much. Because, I mean, it was more or less like a shared screen time between him and Mando for the most of the fighting, and so I thought maybe they thought like adding a third hero in would be a bit much.
Yeah, maybe. I just kind of thought, like, I was just waiting for the next, like, the thing for him to, you know what I mean? Like, every time it was like they're in the corner, I'm like, oh, this will be the bit where he'll sort of like come around the corner and flick his gun and do the shooting, and it just maybe it was just Timothy Olyphantastic just had better things to do that day. It's just like, I'm only working 2 days. Yeah, that's enough for me.
I was when at the very end when Cat is like standing over Boba and he's about to like do like the final shot. I was half expecting that that would have been
because then it's personal as well too. Because
it's like, oh, you shot me, well, I'm going to shoot you.
Yeah, I actually thought, well, that might be the moment. I mean, I did like that. Boba used his Tusken skills and then just like, I'll be curious to see, because there's a lot of like Clone Wars era kids and stuff who really love that character, whether they'll be happy he got killed off. But oh well, he had to go down. I'm just trying to think what happens next. Oh right, and
obviously Boba like bugs out. He's like, oh, I've got a plan for the big droidicas.
With the old classic force field around them.
Yeah, that's a weird technology, because it's just, what do you do about it?
Yeah, I know. And how do you shoot out of it?
Yeah. Oh, it's sci-fi.
Yeah. It just seems weird. Works. You think that everything would have it.
Yeah. Like, why wouldn't you? Or worse, like, and as well, like, why did they think just, let's just keep shooting at it?
Yeah, that was going to be weird. They just kept, like, this time it'll work. This time it'll work.
Black Chrysanthemum just runs up, be like, all right, guns don't work, but maybe if I just like push my hand into this like bulletproof force field as hard as I can, it'll do something.
I actually thought that was going to do something, but somehow his arms had shorted out, or you know what I mean? Like, then he'd just grab it and do something. I don't know. Like, you know, I just wanted him to break something. But ultimately, if you've got yourself a Rancor, so the old Rancor riding paid off big time.
Yeah. It was actually a lot more impressive than I thought, because we all sort of knew it was coming. They set it up, but it was very cool.
Yeah,
I was almost like, I was nervous as when it appeared on the rooftop, because I was just sort of like, oh, that's a bad idea. Like, he can see you and shoot you from far. You got to get down from there. That's really dangerous.
I mean, I just assumed that the showdown was going to be at the palace, and he was going to ride out the front door on top of it, and you know, intimidate and maybe do a few little swipes, and that it would have been it. But it was like full on, like King Kong was trashing the city kind of thing. Really,
it was great to see it being very like agile and you know, climbing around on stuff, because you know what, in Return of the Jedi, it like very slowly walks forward and sort of, you know, rotates around a bit, grabs kind of slowly as well. But this was just very aggressive.
He was nimble. He was a nimble Rancor. So yeah, then we just get this sort of long sequence of the Rancor fighting these droids and looking for the weak spots and tipping them up and throwing them, and it was pretty spectacular. Like, I was just like, oh wow, like this is pretty cool. Like it was like the kitchen sink was being thrown, but it was yeah, like you said, I didn't think it was going to pay off like that. Like, I didn't think there would be sort of full on street warfare with the Rancor.
Yeah, no, it worked really well, and I think it definitely helped sort of the image of Boba as well. Like, you know, everybody saw him do it. He's
like,
just, you know, he's really established. Yeah, it was sick. It was great for him. Like, the PR campaign.
Some good PR, well. Isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, dude, you could really boost your numbers if you ride in on a Rancor.
Yeah. Oh, he missed out on the opportunity though. Like, obviously the Rancor like cuts sick and starts thrashing the town, and it's up to little baby Yoda to, like, you know, calm him down. But they made such a big deal about like imprinting. I was, you know, obviously it was just sort of like Boba's going to rock up and be all like, it's all right. And then everybody again is going to be all like, oh, this guy's definitely in charge. Look at him go.
Yeah. Yeah, well, they get that quite funny moment. I thought Pally, like Amy Sedaris, was awesome in this episode. She runs in on the little, like the little tuk kind of thing, and Grogu's in the thing, and there's that really nice moment where he's on the back and he jumps up and gives him a hug, and that was that was very nice. And I thought that was very, very cool, and that whole sequence was cool. But again, it's just like immediately he's got to be put somewhere. You know what I mean? Like, it's always that thing of like his luggage. You've got to find, he has to be put somewhere until his moment to basically do his thing, which he did, you know, very, very well. But it was always that, okay, he's here now. Something's going to happen.
I was surprised we didn't get like just a full bore like laser body shot right into Baby Yoda, because he's got like the magic armor now. So I was like, oh yeah, obviously they're building this up, so they like established it twice now that, oh yeah, you're wearing this Beskar chainmail, like you're pretty safe.
I thought it'd just be like the Frodo fake out, you know, like it'd just like, I didn't even think that they'd even show him wearing it, that he would get involved and he'd get shot and fall over, and Mando would be like, no kid, you know, and then he'd just turn out that he's got the thing on, you know, it'd be the exact bit out of Lord of the Rings where he's got the vest on. Like, it would have been that moment, but maybe that was too on the nose. But maybe you just can't shoot Baby Yoda in the chest.
Yeah, like there's probably a deleted scene where they did it, and in editing they were just sort of like, this isn't going to work. Yeah, like this is horrific.
Yeah, it's just like, this is a bit too much. It was hard enough.
Well, think about when it was in season 1 Mandalorian, where the stormtrooper like punches the bag with him in it.
Oh yeah,
and people are just sort of like, oh, this sack of shit doing this. Oh, what a bad guy. Like, if they had somebody shoot him, never recover. The show would just be like tarnished.
That's very true. I think it was Jason Sudeikis who shot him too, I think, or punched him. So.
Yeah.
Because Ted Lasso. People still got mad at Ted Lasso of all people. Yeah.
Apparently he got in trouble for that, because he hit it a lot harder than he should have, and they were like, yo, that is a very expensive puppet in that bag. You can't just like punch that.
Phil Tippett is going to be so mad. So we do get like I thought the Raincoat stuff was really spectacular. Like I really enjoyed this. I haven't really looked at the online discourse or anything yet to see if people liked it or not like it. But people the last couple of weeks have been a bit just one going, this isn't Boba Fett show anymore, blah blah blah. Some people loved Luke, some people didn't. Some people got mad at some people for liking it, and some people got mad at some people for not liking it enough. And the world of online
it sounds
discourse,
like a Star Wars debate. Yeah,
exactly. You're just like, well, it makes you really feel like I want to engage in that. I'm just watching it, but look, I think it was a little bit all over the shop in places, and the logic was a bit weird. But ultimately, it was just like, well, this is fun. Like I like the shootout and the sort of the mayhem. I thought that was quite good.
It's really great. It's always really great seeing a side of Star Wars that isn't like just Jedi and Sith and lightsabers and Force stuff. Like obviously there was a little bit of that, little bit of Force powers in the battle, but like it's just great seeing just people with laser guns just running around trying to shoot each other. Like it's a fun element to the show that to the entire series. It just doesn't get as much like screen time really.
It was the real Western. It was that sort of scale as well. Like it was the sort of the Western street fight and things, and it was I don't think it had the numbers or the scale to warrant the danger that they felt that they were in, but I still think it worked pretty well, and I thought the droids were a good, sort of threat to bring into, worthy of bringing a Rancor in, because I just assumed that maybe he'd just roll out on a Rancor and, like I said, tell them to rack off, and they might have just racked off. But I'm just trying to think what we've missed. If we've missed anything, you said Baby Yoda comes out and sort of calms the Rancor down, and there is that little bit where I don't know whether he's just tired. He lies down next to the Rancor. I thought that was quite. I was like, oh, they're buddies.
Yeah.
And then we just kind of get the wrap up. The wrap up.
Yeah, it just has him
walking the
streets
like he's
with
Don
a
Homer.
weird grin on his face.
Like the choppers, like the new choppers were really getting the work done. Like the veneers or whatever Tamara Morrison had done in his teeth. He's just like, although it was funny though, because he does actually, because like at first he's like really grinning, and then it sort of implied that he's wincing a little bit, like when he's all bowing and stuff, he's a bit sore. I thought, oh, that was quite, it doesn't seem quite as ridiculous. But they're all sort of like, paying tribute, like he's Don Homer. Yeah. Don Homer, my son. That's a nicer donut. Like he's doing all of that. But there's that weird there's like a bizarre little bit where he meets up with, it just felt very almost sitcom-y, where Fennec Shan's there, and then the biker kids are there, and then they're all just sort of like, they meet up at the corner and have a little laugh kind of thing.
It would have been great. It would have been perfect if it even it did like a freeze frame as they're all mid-laugh, and then it fades to black. That would have just been...
I thought it was going to be like the Anchorman Channel 5 team, like they all do the jump and the high five at the same time kind of thing.
It was weird that one thing that really put me, because we talked a lot about what's he going for here? What's his motivation? Why does he care so much? And then he's like proper, undisputed Daimo for the first time, and he's walking the streets, and he's literally just like, we're not made for this. Like he's like, already
what
just
the hell
like,
was I thinking?
I thought I wanted this, and I really don't want it.
Yeah. I did really think that maybe he was going to go, oh, someone else can take over now. Like maybe that'll
be like once the fun part's over, he's like, bow out.
Yeah, now I've been chasing the car, and I've caught the car, and I'm just like, this isn't quite as interesting. Like now there's actual work to do. Like there's no one to sort of
tell him what to do.
Yeah.
He's just waiting for direction, and he's just sort of like, oh, I'm in charge.
He's like, I want to rule with honor and respect. And he's like, yeah, you got that now. He's like, good, I guess.
how terribly boring.
I've got that. So I've got that respect. Everyone, nobody's not respecting. No, everything's all good. Like, good. I want to go pick a fight. So then, yeah, we get that kind of like weird little sort of ending, and then we touch back in with Boba and with Mando and Baby Yoda, and he's using the Naboo starfighter, and of course the little dome at the top is for Baby Yoda. Probably,
I can't look at that and not think of the Homer, the car that Homer designs in Simpsons, and he's like a separate dome for the kids.
Yeah.
Like it just looks so. Got to put him somewhere.
Well, it's those things that, like, have you ever been to like the aquarium where, like, in the kids' bit, you can put your head in the bubble and look inside the fish tank kind of thing? That was kind of what it looks like. Yeah. I don't know if it's really practical for long haul traveling. Really, he was used to having a bed and stuff, and now he's like, I've just got like a window.
Yeah, as well. Like the whole like escorting bounties. Where's he going to put him? Like, his great line of, I can bring you in warm or I can bring you in cold. It looks like cold's the only option now.
I can just bring you a head because that's all I can fit in the boot. Look, they'll address that. He'll have that's his joyrider. That's his weekender.
He literally just like builds a space camper and tows it behind.
Yeah. Well, it's like, they buy the sports car and it only has enough room to fit golf clubs in it kind of thing. Like, it's just... He'll get a little base of operations and he'll work from there, and that's just what he takes New Hoons around. So there's a nice moment where he's just sort of he puts the nitro on and they do a little zoom and everything. Everything's sort of restored. What's the line at the end of Kill Bill 2? The lioness is with her cub and there's the jungle or whatever it is. I can't remember the exact line.
It did feel like that.
And then we get the little denouement at the end, the sort of mid credits where we're back in the Bacta tank and Timothy Oliphant's there, and the is it Thundercat, the guy who does the modding. Guy. So we might get like a electric shoulder Timothy Oliphant next year or whenever we come back.
Yeah. I hope he gets more. More screen time. He's an absolute delight.
Just good hair,
Oh my god! If I looked that good. At my current age, I'd be very happy.
But I'm just surprised he wasn't in it at the end. Like, I did think that was a bit weird and like you said, the moment where he sort of Cad Bane's over him, he's going to kill him. I thought that might have been it was good that it was personal between Boba and him and he finished the job, but Oliphant coming out and shooting him would have been satisfying.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, he didn't even have to, because maybe they were worried about downplaying the severity of getting shot. Like, you can get shot and then the next day you're sort of fine again. They might have wanted to just...
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. That seems a little bit strange. But anyway, whatever. Especially when all the rest of the town turned up. But anyway. So, yeah, there we go. There it is. Like, it'll be interesting to go back. At some stage, I'll go back and watch it through to the start. I would like to see somebody out there who's time do the fan edit. Like, let's do the 2 hour, because you could essentially make the Book of Boba Fett movie a 2 hour movie about this, really, couldn't you? Without too much
he just
trouble.
rocks up. He crawls out of the Sarlacc pit, hangs out with some Tuskens, takes over a town. There's your movie.
Yep. Where's the fan edit? Come on, fan editors, get out there. But yeah, I enjoyed it. It certainly wasn't... I wasn't quite sure. I'm just trying to think about, like, I'll have to go back and listen to the first episode we did, like, before we watched the first episode. And, like, it seems like we've come a long way from, like, that weird four-armed guy coming out of the sand. I was thinking about the other day going, oh, yeah, that happened. Remember when the weird, like, four-armed guy came out of the sand?
Man, that feels like so long ago.
It does, doesn't it? I mean, it wasn't that. It was only, 7 weeks ago, I guess. Like, just after Christmas. But, yeah. I mean, you're the guy. Bob was your guy, Eli. Like, season 2, you down?
If they do a season 2, it better be, like, completely new. Episode 1, my hopes for a season 2 Book of Boba is... episode 1, he ditches Tatooine. Like, you do like 20 minutes of him being super bored on the throne, just thinking, this is trash, I hate this, and then he just books it and gets into some like mental adventure. That'd be that'd be sick.
Like something from his past come up, even like something to drag him away from. Like, I like the idea that he's just like, well, I got to the top and I've brought peace. and everyone respects me now, but what am I doing, really? Like,
Yeah, if we do get a season 2, I hope they don't miss the same opportunity and they give us a lot of backstory, because then it just puts all the growth that he had in season 1 into like a better perspective, because really all we saw was this like one tone of Boba where he's a pretty chill guy.
but like, and how does that work with the rest of the galaxy, who one think you're dead, and then have a predetermined idea of what you're like? You know, if he gets back out in the world, and it's like, well, Cad Bane was like one of the guys who knew what he was like beforehand, and he's just like, well, he's a cold-blooded killer, blah blah blah, and now he thinks you've gone soft. You know, and then he goes back out into the world, and we're like, well, we heard that you're alive, and you're just running you're running Tatooine now, but you've gone soft, and blah blah blah, and yeah, how does he address that?
Yeah, like that, because he's not a stay-at-home kind of guy. Like he belongs out in the mess.
Belongs out in the mess. Well, we'll just have to see what happens, mate.
Yeah. Is there any word or anything?
I don't know. They're usually
pretty quick.
Yeah, I think we'll just have to see. Like, Mando season 3 is supposed to be coming towards the end of the year, early next year, and I think that'll be the next taste. I mean, there's Kenobi's coming between then and I think Andor as well. Different time periods.
My God, that's a lot of content.
That's a lot of content. Yeah, I think Andor has already been confirmed for another season too. Actually, I think someone let that slip. So, hey, look, it's done numbers. People like it. I couldn't see any reason why they wouldn't do it if everyone's up for it. So, yeah, I hope so. And then we'll be back. We'll kick back all over again. But we might just get you back as our resident week by week Star Wars TV reviewer anyway, if you're up for it.
No, man, yeah, sign me up. If
this doesn't need to be the end.
No, yeah, don't let me go, man. Don't let me go.
Hey, I'm just getting a good group here. Okay.
Yeah, like I'd be very keen. Like it's sort of my first time. Like I wasn't like sitting down with a notepad or anything, but it's fun to like, analyze something on a regular basis.
Cool. Well, we don't have a date for Kenobi just yet, but it's going to roughly be around May. So, well, the podcast will probably go back to coming out when I feel like it. Won't be every week again, but if something comes up that we need to get you back before then, if there's a trailer or a TV related thing, we'll call on you, and then when we get back into the shows, we'll dip in. But thanks for doing this, man. It's been really good.
Yeah, no, I've really, really enjoyed it. I'd be very excited for more in the future.
Awesome. Well, we'll leave it there. Hope everybody enjoyed the show. Hope everybody enjoyed the reviews and all that kind of stuff. And we'll see you when we see ya. Thank you.